Welcome to another episode of Thorn's Jungle. Hope everyone's had a great week. This episode's a little different. We have my brother Scott joining me in the jungle. And today we're going to discuss the latest Jurassic World movie, Jurassic World Rebirth. We saw it last night. And we have a lot of mixed feelings about it.
I don't know how mixed they really are. I think there's a consensus on this movie, but I enjoyed it.
Last night you didn't. Fucking rotal.
It was better than nothing.
Yeah, it was. Like...
Alright, so do you want to just get straight into it?
Yeah, let's rip the Band-Aid off because, we've got a lot to talk about.
I got a little gift for you if you want to kick it off this way.
Oh,
there you go.
All right.
There you go.
So, for it's a little bit melted.
It's been in my pocket all day. I'm sorry.
So, for those of you listening, Scott's just handed me a Snickers bar. Now, I will warn you, there may be spoilers in this, but, nothing. I mean, there's nothing really to spoil in the movie. But a Snickers bar does play a large role in the... Well,
pretty much the role.
The role. Like... The actual enemy of this movie was a fucking Snickers bar.
Yeah. So, the Snickers bar kind of, like, it's analogous to the, you know how the Death Star got destroyed in Star Wars?
Yeah.
How, there was just one weak point, and they shot one laser at it and took down the whole fucking Death Star.
Yep.
Somehow, a Snickers bar wrapper took down the whole security system of InGen's operations 15 years ago.
Yeah, and they never reused that facility again afterwards. Like the whole thing, it was shut down,
ruined because of a Snickers wrapper.
Yeah. It now is that a product placement? Even though it was like the enemy.
That's why I bought the Snickers bar, because I felt sorry for Snickers.
Yeah, like they were hell demonized. Like.
It's the worst thing to happen to Snickers since that bitch cooked that beef Wellington.
Oh yeah, the
Right?
the death cap mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was very bad PR for the beef Wellington, which is a great dish.
Oh, it's fantastic if the mushrooms are not deadly. Yeah. Anyway, so like I had a lot of things I loved about the movie and a lot of things I really didn't like.
Where do you want to start this? Like, so we can get straight into the movie, but before we do, I reckon, what did you want out of a new Jurassic World movie?
Well, going into it, I knew that it was going to be a standalone movie. I knew it wasn't going to be following the same... like storyline. It wasn't going to have a lot of the Jurassic World lore, Jurassic Park lore incorporated in it. I knew it was like, all right, bang, just a planted movie that wasn't going to tell, it wasn't a continuation of the Jurassic World or the Jurassic franchise storyline. It was just like a standalone. So I kind of expected it not to have a lot of like too much backstory in it, which you and I both like. We love that in the Jurassic World movies. But I kind of expected that. What I wanted was more of a Lost World feel to where... which I got, but I wanted more... I did want more InGen stuff, I wanted more, like, of that. Labs, weird, dark history behind it. Just stuff like that.
I was absolutely up for a rebirth. They marketed it as a rebirth. It is a rebirth, right? It should be. And let's face it, after Dominion, it needed that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you leave so many loose ends not tied up. And good writing could have absolutely just tied them up with some simple dialogue at the start. And I want to know what happened to Henry Wu after his redemption arc.
Yeah.
In Dominion. I'd like to know what the hell's going on with Maisie Lockwood.
Yeah.
Right? I'd like to know what happens to Claire Deering and Owen, whatever his face is.
Yep.
Grady. I'd like to know, just to pretend that all that stuff doesn't matter and doesn't, play any part in the fandom of Jurassic. was a bit of a missed opportunity, but I get that they wanted to sever some ties, but I hate when these franchises do that, where they fuck it up in the past, and then they just pretend it didn't happen,
Yeah.
and they just keep on moving forward, and whatever. So I wanted more InGen.
Yeah.
I wanted more explanation of what's happened between Dominion and now, rather than just like, hey, dinosaurs are still just hanging around.
Yeah.
'Cause that's all we got, was dinosaurs are hanging around, and then they... Okay, we can get into the premise of the movie. Spoilers, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the fact that they were ending the main, like, the dinosaurs just amongst humans, which was always in the Jurassic lore. There was that prion disease that the dinosaurs could get, which would wipe them all out, like the new dinosaurs. So I do like that dinosaurs are now more rare and isolated, just little island stuff. I love that. The fuck, did you notice this though? You know, at the very start when the big, I don't think it was a patasaur or something, was on the road.
Yeah.
Did you notice the graffiti on it?
No?
There's one shot. It's like a 2-second shot.
Someone's tagged up
Somebody
the
had
dinosaur.
graffitied it. It was sitting there. There was a big graffiti art, which fucking reminded me of A Shark's Tale. You know when the whales come in the car wash and everyone's just graffitied them because they're just these big...
Yeah,
it was exactly like that.
That's pretty funny.
That was one of the things I said to Mel. I was like, did you notice the graffiti on it? She's like, no. It was like a split second there. I was
That's cool. That's cool.
But, yeah. I don't know.
Can we start with the premise of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that is a big... yeah.
Okay, so the whole idea is that the dinosaurs out in the wild aren't doing very well because of oxygen levels on the planet.
Yeah.
And they've sequestered themselves to the equatorial regions because there's more oxygen there. So, simple Google search, right? Oxygen levels a little bit higher in the late Cretaceous, lower than our current levels in the early Cretaceous. So depending on where the dinosaurs is actually sourced from, that doesn't make much fucking sense at all. And also the fact that they think that they're thriving in the equatorial regions because there's more oxygen. Do a Google search. There's less oxygen in the equatorial regions than at the poles. Because cold air is denser and has more oxygen in it. It's dumb.
Yeah.
And
see, if Michael Crichton was writing this, that wouldn't have been like that because he knows his science. He knows that.
Okay, we'll suspend our disbelief for that one there, and then they bring up. So the idea of the movie is that there's this pharmaceutical company that wants to help humanity, as they always do. It's perfect timing to tell everybody how good pharmaceutical companies are. Which obviously leads to... See, I don't like the demonization of that sort of shit because, like, pharmaceutical companies try to help for a profit. Right? They don't make profit unless they actually help.
Yeah.
Sort of. Well, don't want to open that big can of worms. Right, but... So the idea was that they had to get DNA to help heart disease in humans.
Yeah.
Right? From 3 of the biggest dinosaurs on the planet that happen to be the biggest flyer, the biggest swimmer, and the biggest land-based thing. For no reason. Just because they're big. And it's going to be a cool smorgasbord of dinosaurs.
Yeah, I understand, like... They were, making out that, the bigger heart, the more of this enzyme or whatever to pump it, they can get it from. But why did they need it from aquatic dinosaurs, marine dinosaurs, or not marine reptiles, mosasaur and the flying? What there was no, you could do if you were going down that path, which doesn't make really any sense anyway. You would just get it from the Titanosaur and you're done. It's hard compared to the Quetzalcoatlus. It's bigger than the entire bird. Like, that's enough.
Just get the biggest one. Why the biggest... What if the biggest, let's say dinosaur, I know it's a swimming reptile, but what if the biggest one was tiny? Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So why do they have to do the land, sea, and air thing made no
Made no
fucking sense to me.
No sense. I mean, and also they were just getting blood. They weren't actually getting anything directly from the heart anyway. They were just getting blood from them. Like they were getting
With a weird contraption that they have to be a certain distance away to shoot this dart, otherwise it won't penetrate their skin, because all three of them have the same thickness of skin.
Yeah, a Quetzalcoatlus' skin would be like paper thin. Like you could have, a paper cut would have bloody gotten blood from it.
Exactly. Well, they ended up getting that from an egg anyway.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's right.
But so they did that, and then once the dart extracts things, it shoots itself off with a little rocket, right? So they're hoping that when they shoot it, that by the time it launches the dart off, it's gonna be pointed upwards.
Yeah.
With a mosasaur. Yeah. It's not gonna just shoot to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
They were just... So it was just...
It blew my mind. I was like, why did they decide to make that thing out of glass as well? Yeah. It was rolling around in the cave. I'm like, why glass?
Before we just keep on ragging on this bit, I do want to say, when I first came out of the movie, I gave it a 3 out of 10. Yeah. Right? I was upset. There was like, Jurassic Park is near and dear to my heart. Like, I have fucking, on your camera, I have Jurassic Park tattoos. I love this thing. Mm. They owed me something.
Yeah.
When it came to writing this movie, and I felt absolutely disappointed. Woke up this morning though, it's probably gone up to a 5 out of 10. It might go up. I do want to watch this movie again. There are things. It's still a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of good parts. I don't know if we want to go into full pros and cons and stuff like that, but if we want to just start with the premise, the premise was shit.
Yeah.
And the writing, the dialogue was kind of... They rushed it. You could just tell that they rushed it. And so one of the big draw cards for this movie was the fact that it was the screenplay was written by David Koepp, who wrote the screenplay for the original Jurassic Park, right? So we're like, well, how can he fuck this up?
Yeah.
To me, it felt like he got 2 different drafts and just shuffled them together. And like, all right, there's mercenaries that need to get all this DNA that we're talking about for these 3 things for this pharmaceutical company, and then this random family that gets stranded on an island, and let's just make them the same movie.
Yeah. Yep. It was like they got the premise of Jurassic Park 3, stranded family, and just reused it. Oh, like as if mercenaries fighting dinosaurs wasn't enough. They had to have this like defenseless family in there that realistically, it didn't add anything to the storyline except they needed to be saved a few times, you know?
Yeah, and as that brings me to one of the big things that I thought about the premise is, every other movie, there was a good reason. And yeah, saving humanity from heart disease, from getting this DNA, is a good reason, but there's no urgency behind it.
No.
There was nothing urgent that needed to happen, right? It's not like we have to get to this island now.
Yeah, it's not like a
cure they could have taken their
pandemic.
time and spent a bit more money and taken 3 years to do that DNA thing, right?
Heart disease has existed for as long as humans have, and yeah, what's the urgency? It's not like they're trying to find a quick cure for this like new pandemic or something that's only found there. It was like heart disease, diet and exercise fixes that. You know?
That would have been so on the nose if there was like a global pandemic and dinosaur DNA was the only thing that could save it. That would be so bad.
Yeah.
If they did that. Because then obviously everyone is going to look at the pharmaceutical company like absolute assholes. And by the way, this representative, forget his name, maybe chuck it up in the pocket.
Well, that's how memorable the characters were.
Yeah, I know. He seemed to be a good guy. Deep pockets, trying to save heart disease, right?
Yeah.
And his company was going to make a lot of money from saving heart disease. You know what? If you cure heart disease on this planet, you should make a shitload of money.
For sure.
It's like, this whole idea of this was like, oh, but healthcare is for everyone. It's like, but what about the people that fucking actually made it? They deserve to be rich. They're
on an island with dinosaurs. Pay the man. Like, what, he's going to do that for free? Like, come on.
Yeah, and if they got the DNA and actually cured heart disease, that company should be the best company. They should, overtake Apple or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. Like the thing I loved about the movie was it was a jungle mission. I loved the like the tactical part of it and the logistical part. I loved that. They were on a mission in a jungle, dinosaurs, cool. I really loved that. But I will say, like straight off the bat, it was a cool dinosaur movie, jungle adventure movie, but it wasn't a cool Jurassic Park movie. Like I think
I agree with that.
I think for everyday people, it's a cool movie, but for Jurassic fans, it was like, oof, you know, like as if Dominion didn't fuck up enough. It was like, oh, this one, like it didn't have that Jurassic vibe to it.
Yeah. So we've got this cast of characters. So we've like this pharmaceutical guy. He finds this mercenary team headed by Zora, right? And you know this is again the sloppy writing. All the other movies, the characters had backstories that you found out. It's one of those show don't tell things. This movie was tell don't show.
Yeah.
There's that scene where Zora with Kincaid. I forget his name, the actor. He did a great job, by the way.
Yeah, he was cool.
He was awesome. But and it's literally her just sort of telling him, "Oh, I lost my partner in the last." So all of her motivation, if you want to call it that, we know the motivation was money. She got bought out, but it was just told. They just tell their backstories.
Yeah.
It wasn't shown. It was just sloppy writing.
And they got away with that, like in their minds, because she's a covert operator. So it's like, oh, she can't say too much about her background. Therefore, we don't have to tell anyone. We don't have to show the storyline.
Yeah.
But it was kind of slow to get into it, to be honest. So it's kind of like, all right, I like if they would have stretched that out more, it was getting to a point where I just want to see some dinosaurs by now, you know?
I know, but I didn't hate the pacing of the movie. I thought the pacing was pretty good.
Yeah.
Because we did get there pretty quick. We saw dinosaurs pretty early in the movie, but they weren't, the attacking sort of whatever. But they were there. Yeah. I mean, some of the best elements of The Lost World, for instance, is all the exposition at the start.
Yeah.
It's all the lead up to the mission.
Yep.
You don't see dinosaurs. There's nothing's crazy's going on, but we kind of know where we're going, and it builds up the excitement for it.
Exactly. You know? I mean, in The Lost World, it was like, you're seeing Ian Malcolm with Eddie Carr talking about, in the warehouse when they're like building the equipment and stuff. Yeah. His daughter's there. And, it's a cool lead up. They're going on a big adventure. They're not just next scene on a boat.
Not only that, like, you really get to see how much of a trickster asshole Hammond is.
Yeah.
He literally purposely targeted Malcolm's partner and sent her early by herself to ensure that he would go.
Yeah, dick move.
It's a dick move, but he did it on purpose.
She was by herself there? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
and he says, oh, she just wanted to do it. It's like, yeah, you've got your checkbook out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's a rescue mission now.
Yeah, so these characters were not very memorable because their motivations weren't great. And their tie to their whole mission wasn't great, except for the douchebag CEO of the pharmaceutical company, who, let's face it, wasn't a douchebag until you saw a scene of him, like, kind of letting a child die, well, seemingly, and wanting to get away with it, and that's when he becomes an asshole. But if it wasn't for that, he's just a guy that wants to save humanity from heart disease.
And also, what CEOs are out there in the field doing that anyway? I don't know.
I don't know if he was a CEO,
I don't know
but whatever the hell he was.
He was high
Representative.
He was high enough to make deals where he didn't have to call anyone.
He didn't have to call anybody to put a couple extra zeros behind a paycheck.
And do you know what's crazy as well? There's like little things. That bar scene as well. They've got the megalodon jaws there. It's supposed to be real megalodon jaws.
That's huge.
Yeah, massive. But like, when the fuck did, like, so they've cloned megalodons. Like, they've got megalodons now. And he even hinted, he was like, oh, they're still out there. Like, there are megalodons out there in this universe, or same universe, but in this movie, there are megalodons swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
And also there was
so why didn't they recruit Jason Statham?
Yeah, exactly.
If anyone knows a Meg,
Meg 3,
yeah.
you know. I'm gonna take down that Meg. I'll fucking move it on. Yeah, but and also like there were scenes where, you know, you saw that giant salamander thing. It was up a tree for some reason. I'm like, why would they create that? A big salamander. It was like a Coolosuchus or something. Well, why did they make that?
Especially when they like opening scene in the movie where they set up that this is all about hybrids now, right?
Yeah.
So it shouldn't matter that they're cloning normal dinosaurs we recognize, because they're like, all right, Snickers wrapper fucks up a facility 15 years ago where they're making this D-Rex, you know, hemorrhoid head fucking dinosaur.
Oh yeah, straight up. Yeah,
and they use that as a chance to just completely recreate that scene from Godzilla.
exactly the same scene, and it's no coincidence the director's the same dude.
Yeah. So he's like, you know what, I got a few things in my, you know, this is my intellectual property. I'm allowed to do it again.
Yeah, it's his little...
And no one will notice. We all noticed.
Yeah.
That was dumb. And then they said, all right, well, all those genetic hybrids got dumped on this one island, right?
Yeah.
And then all the animals that they're going to try and get DNA from are not hybrids,
Yeah.
but happen to be on the same island.
Yeah, like...
Why?
And why didn't the Titanosaur, why wasn't that in any of the parks? There was nothing wrong with it. You know, so that island was for like...
Same as the Quetzalcoatlus.
Yeah. Why wasn't any of them on exhibition? Like, and there were a lot of Titanosaurs. You see that scene, there's like dozens of them.
Yeah.
Why were they never put on the park? They weren't too dangerous. The guy was touching them. What I did like about that scene though, when he was touching it, was the little bristly hairs on its leg.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's cool.
But that was like probably one of the only practical effects.
Yeah.
That was the only
There was
thing.
no animatronics in the movie.
This guy just touching this leg, and it's literally, they just got like a tree and wrapped it in some fake skin with some
it's an
hair.
elephant,
And he's
really.
just like...
Yeah.
Although, time to do some positives. If you bring up that scene, one of my favorite scenes from the movie
Yeah.
was coming across those Titanosaurs.
Yeah.
That almost got that Jurassic feel of seeing it for the
Yes.
first time.
And the music helped.
The music helped. The music always does. John Williams is a genius.
Yep.
But they dodged a bullet. There was a point in that scene, because if you haven't seen it, they come across these two massive Titanosaurs. They've got to get their DNA from them, whatever. And these two Titanosaurs are courting each other, right? And for some reason, their tails are massive, ridiculously big,
Yeah.
to the point where at the end of them, they're so thin that there's no way there could be any muscle to hold that up.
No.
So it was kind of done like these big whipping tails.
They were like these
And
serpentine...
There was a point where you saw the tails and you could tell that, oh yeah, these things, they're necking each other and whatever, they're courting. And if those tails had formed a love heart, I
my
would have just
God.
gotten out of the fucking cinema.
Oh, God.
But
that
they got so close.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
so close in one scene. If they had done that, I would have just left the theater.
That would have been next level. I mean, like, the thing is, what I gathered were like, I know it's Jurassic Park, so we know the dinosaurs on Jurassic Park never really looked, you know, they weren't dinosaurs, right? They shaped them how they thought they looked like at the time, things like that.
Yeah. Henry Wu was a genius.
Yeah.
And an artist, I would say.
Yeah. So what they tried to do is, like, the Titanosaur, they did have real long, thin tails. No, it's like they took the realism and over-exaggerated it to the point where it became so unrealistic. Titanosaurs had real long, thin tails. They weren't like the big, thick brachiosaur tails. They had super long tails. Not like that. That was next
Not like
next
this
level.
random whipping thing doing like I don't know.
It's the
weird
largest
patterns in the
animal
sky.
that has ever walked the face of our Earth, and its tail was like wrist thick, or it was just insane. It was just too much, like, over exaggerated. Same with the Spinosaurus, right? the Spinosaurus, like, for fuck, that was another thing that I...
Okay, let's get there. Let's get to the island first and figure out why the hell we were on that island, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't want to do, like, a complete audio commentary of, like, every scene by scene, because
I know, but just, like, so... Because I mentioned the two different stories, let's at least talk about how they mixed, right? Because I've got feelings about that, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, they've got to go get these 3 DNA samples from the 3 largest things. They happen to be not only on the same island, they also happen to be on hybrid dump island, where all the shitty dinosaurs were dumped for some reason. Okay, so that made no sense. Meanwhile, there's this random family, and this guy is trying to do a last adventure with his daughter before she goes off to college, and she's got a douchebag boyfriend that whatever, and they're on a sailboat. Now, I'm a sailor. I like sailing. It wasn't a 45-foot boat.
No, I thought the same thing.
It's not a fucking 40. It was like a
way
36.
smaller.
Whatever. It's like a Cape Dory or something. But anyway, they get fucked up by a combination of the Spinosauruses and the Mosasaur tips over their boat. That annoyed me because that was a full-keeled boat and the keel didn't snap off. Why would the boat flip upside down? Doesn't happen. It's flipped upside. The heavy parts at the top. Yeah. Sailboats flip right up. It's not a catamaran. Sailboats flip right up. That annoyed the shit out of me because if that happened in real life, the mast would snap, the boat would pop back up, everybody's fucking fine, turn the engine on, drive where you want to go, right? It made no sense. Yeah. But what I did like was the fact that they had to respond to the emergency call, because any good skipper knows that it's your responsibility. You will be liable for their deaths if you didn't respond to the emergency call, right?
Right.
So that's why they had to rescue them.
Yeah.
Fine. So now they've taken these 2 scripts, they've got this family, we've got these mercenaries, we've chucked them together, they're on a boat for a little bit, and then the family goes off the boat, and the mercenaries continue with their mission.
Yeah.
Seemingly thinking they've just lost this whole family.
Yeah.
And they don't meet again to the end. So it's these 2 stories that cross for a second, disappear for the rest of the movie, and then link back up at the end. So I just needed to say that thing about the sailboat, because that sucks.
Yeah.
That's not how sailboats work. They're very safe. You can cross oceans with sailboats. I don't know about mosasaur attacks, but...
Yeah, but the mosasaur didn't really do...
It just knocked it over.
It didn't do any damage to it.
Sailboats should not... There was no hole in it. It didn't get bitten in half or anything. It was just... Whatever.
And just the fact that, like... I loved the mosasaur in the movie. I really liked it. I loved how they went real far, away from the first mosasaur in the Jurassic World, which was, like, super crocodilian, had, like, the osteoderms all over it like a crocodile, and it was, like, a bluey grey colour. This mosasaur was, like, more smooth and, like, almost slimy looking, but looked like kind of whale-like skin, even though they're more closely related.
And I did like the scene with Zora getting strapped to the... Like, that was cool. That was a complete shout-out to Jaws.
Yeah.
When he's at the front of the boat trying to shoot.
Yeah,
and even the way the shark or the mosasaur was, like, coming across.
You see its eye looking at it from underwater. That was cool. I love that.
That was cool. But that was a complete shout-out to Spielberg's, older, greater work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed that. So then they get to the island and...
Well, before they get to that fucking... why was the Spinosaurus teaming up with the mosasaur?
That made no sense. And they're like, it's a perfect, like... But
a mosasaur doesn't need a Spinosaurus to hunt. Mosasaurs are eating huge animals. Spinosaurs are eating, like, fish, big fish. They're completely different diets. Why do they need to help each other at all? That made no sense to me.
That made no sense.
And, like, I really didn't like the Spinosauruses. And it was another case of what they were trying to do with the Titanosaurs, trying to make it look more like a real Spinosaurus in its anatomy. So they got, like, the femur length right, had short femur, paddle-like tail they got right. What was going on with the neck of it? Spinosauruses had, like, almost duck necks, like, that went up like that. Like, they made these necks thinner, fatter, stubbier, and then there's one scene when it's on the beach and it's walking quadrupedally, which we know they didn't walk quadrupedally.
From Jurassic Park 3.
Well, Jurassic Park 3 was definitely not anatomically correct at all.
But it's an in-gen...
It's an in-gen creation. But then why try... If you're going to make it more realistic, don't make it unrealistic.
Don't make it less realistic.
Less
If you're going to
realistic.
change it to realism, not less.
And I don't understand what, like, they almost made out that the Spinosaurus were, like, basically fully aquatic. Like, it grabbed someone and went underwater with them to eat them. Like, what?
Well, they were in deep ocean. These things were wetland creatures, right?
Yeah,
rivers and, like, maybe shorelines, but,
Exactly.
like, probably not much deeper than they could stand if they wanted to.
Well, they reckon they didn't fish fully in the water. They stood in shallow water and used their hands to grab fish and that long thing. They didn't hunt swimming in the water.
Yeah, and what kind of annoys me is that, like, Spinosaurus was their big thing. Jurassic Park 3, that was the big guy. And when it killed a T-Rex like that, we were like, holy shit, we want justice. And we didn't get justice until Jurassic World, where all of a sudden you see Rexy smash the skeleton of it. It's like, hell yeah. And then now there's 40,000 Spinosaurus.
Oh, no.
That no one cares about. Yeah. And it's like, oh, you see their sails come out of the water.
And they were very... And they weren't scary. Like, they were super colourful as well. So it was like... It wasn't ominous. It was... Yeah, I don't know. I thought I'd like the Spinosauruses because they're really cool. But, man, if only they...
And by the way, just on the Spinosaurus, they killed about as many people as any of the other... dinosaurs did, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Like the first couple of big deaths that we see were Spinosaurus deaths.
Yeah, two people, one on the boat.
There was that dude from Game of Thrones that got ripped out straight away.
Was he on Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Apparently, like, that's one of the things. We've got to talk to that guy's agent because he went from being in, like, Game of Thrones to being like a villain here to being like a sub-villain in the next movie, and then in this movie he gets killed in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, because he was a villain in Deadpool, and he got killed. He got killed off pretty damn quick.
And in this one, he was a nothing character.
No, he wasn't.
And then there was that chick that got killed on the beach.
That's yeah.
And that was a kind of cool scene.
That
right?
was
like,
pretty cool.
She's pulling the cargo up, and you see a Spinosaurus just stand up, walk into the water, and then you just see her disappear.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was all right. But then it took her underwater for some strange reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so far, Mosasaur was cool. Spinosauruses, I just don't know why they did that. I don't know why they did that. I mean, the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus was fucking awesome. Awesome. Not realistic, but that's what we thought Spinosaurus looked like at the time, was a Spinosaurus to anyone. So, but it was cool, man. It was huge. It was the monster. Now these things are just like little henchmen. Like,
they're half the size as well.
Yeah, they were.
And that's one of the big problems, like, because I know the director of this movie directed the Godzilla movie, and he's good at making things look big on camera.
Yeah.
But the scaling, these dinosaurs changed size
Oh,
all the fucking time. It made no sense. You'd see something that's like, man, that thing's huge, and then you see another one that's like, oh, it's only about 12 foot tall.
That was one of the things I noticed the most was the discrepancies in size throughout the movie.
The scaling was terrible.
It was weird, man. Like, I so many scenes. I was like, wait a second, that thing was a lot bigger than that other scene, and it was bizarre. Like, I don't know how they could have messed that up so much.
Yeah,
like
it made no sense because surely these let's call them digital assets when they make these models of these dinosaurs or whatever, they have a scale that they can use, and obviously they can change it. It's just a fucking computer program. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yep.
But they know when they're stretching it.
Yeah.
So it was deliberate. It had to be deliberate.
It would have had to
be like, all right, let's just make this thing way bigger than it needs to be, just for this one angle.
Yeah.
And then in the next angle, let's put it back to normal.
And I hope it
made no sense.
I hope it wasn't one of their artistic directions where it's like, we want to make this thing look King Kong size just so people feel like it's menacing. But it's like, well, now you've just made it completely unbelievable doing that, because it's like, The D-Rex that was just
We'll get
unbelievable.
to the T-Rex. We'll get there. Let's throw in some positives.
Yeah.
We mentioned that the Titanosaur scene was pretty awesome. It was pretty special.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Quetzalcoatlus scene?
Like, to be honest, I thought it was cool because I love the fact that they incorporated the ancient ruins into it.
But did they?
Well,
They were there.
yeah, they were there.
And for some reason, this Kincaid guy said some word that made him seem like he knew what they were, but then it was never elaborated on. He was like in there, and he's like, oh, and he mentions like it sounds like a tribe's name or something like that. But then never again.
I know, they breezed over a lot of things. So for those of you that like don't know, there's always been mention of ancient ruins in the Jurassic franchise.
Specifically, like South American ruins.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like Mayan ruins.
Yeah, Mayan ruins. Because there's a game, Trespasser, it was hated on at the time and there was a lot of problems with it, but now it's become like a cult classic. There is ancient ruins in it, and it's become like a little fan thing. So people were pleased when they found out there was going to be ancient ruins in this movie, but it was just so breezed over that it was like... Yeah, they didn't elaborate on anything.
It was there for no reason.
No.
It was there just to be like, all right, we tick another box. I'm sure fans will like this.
Yeah.
It's like, well, fans like explanation. They want reasons for things.
Exactly.
Right? It's like, we want to see the ruins because we've seen them in that game and they've been hinted at. Explain them. No, let's just hint at them again.
Yeah, exactly. It gave us nothing.
It did nothing.
Gave us nothing. And to be honest, like, I am not a fan of pterosaurs. Like, as a group, I think they kind of bore me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. They never excite me for some reason. In movies, they just don't. I don't know what it is. So I was sort of like, oh, the Quetzalcoatlus, it's a type of pterosaur, but it's huge. It's the biggest, so that'll be cool. But you didn't get a scale of the size of it until it like pretty much swallowed that woman. When it was in the cave, there was no reference to its size really.
Not really at all.
And that was another size discrepancy. It's walking around this cave and stuff, like this little...
Yeah, but there was nothing in there to gauge it.
No, like and that's what they did well in Dominion with the Quetzalcoatlus scene. You just see it blocks out the light like over the airplane. It's like equal size of the airplane. You get the scale of it, and you're like, holy crap, that is a big bloody flying reptile. In this, they didn't do the size of the Quetzalcoatlus any justice, and that was a shame.
Not at all.
That was a shame until it swallowed.
Because they made the
person.
mosasaur look insane. The titanosaurs looked insane. The Quetzalcoatlus is just sort of like in a cave.
Yeah.
It's like, how big's that fucking cave?
Exactly. I mean, realistically, they were like 16 feet tall.
Yeah. How are you going to fit a giraffe in a cave on a cliffside? Let us know how big that cave is. And actually put some perspective in that for us, please.
I would have liked to have seen that because it is all about the biggest animals, and they just... Yeah, they just didn't do it enough justice, I don't think. But it was an okay scene. I didn't mind that scene. I liked them climbing. Like, absolutely. I liked that.
I did and I didn't, because it just seemed to appear out of nowhere.
Oh, but the
climbing, like you see them sort of walking, and like, see, this is another thing that I think I had a bigger problem with than anyone else did. So this new Dinosaur Island, we loved what Nublar looked like.
Yeah.
We loved it. And then we got like the Lost World, and there's like, all right, there's like redwood forests there or what. It looked like Earth.
Yeah.
This island looked like fucking Pandora.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like there was scenes where they're looking out and they're like, oh, and there's like 7 different waterfalls, and it's like, this is just some AI generated fucking, like, this was just... I like the idea of a beautiful island being, inhabited by dinosaurs. I like that.
Yeah.
But this thing, it's too big. Like that. Nowhere on Earth looks like that.
No.
It was just crazy over the top, beautiful, which made it shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because see, I liked the ground scenes when they're walking through the jungle. Looked great, but then the big wide shots of it where they're like, it's like a pipe of rock and it was just insane. It was way overboard. The ground scenes where they're trekking through the jungle looked great. You could see the mangrove
Fantastic,
stumps. It
yeah.
looked good. The big wide scenes, it was like it's too overboard with like, yeah, it looked like Pandora.
Yeah, it was. It's like the screenplay was written by David Koepp, but consulted on by some stupid millennial.
Yeah.
They're just like, and even then, like with the Pandora thing, with the Avatar sort of reference, they replaced Velociraptors.
Oh yeah.
With this Mutadon thing.
Yeah.
Like, Velociraptors were so underserved in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, they appear in the background and then get immediately eaten by the Quetzalcoatlus, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all there is for Velociraptor. And then they recreate Velociraptor scenes with these Mutadons. So now, all of a sudden, Velociraptor has wings and a big gullet.
Yeah.
For some reason, just hanging down like a pelican.
Yeah.
And they could have been Velociraptors.
I know. They didn't have to be
Why couldn't that be a
hybrid.
Velociraptor scene?
Like, I love the Velociraptors for a little we didn't because they were the Jurassic 3 Velociraptors. The ones with like the little bristly feathers, and they were the JP3 Velociraptors, which I really liked. I liked they did that. I expected to see more of them.
I really wanted to. Yeah, absolutely.
And that was one thing that Rebirth did a lot of, was recreate the exact scenes of the original.
They did the kitchen scene.
They did the kitchens. Mel even leant over and went, "Is this the kitchen scene?" On yeah, it is.
Yeah,
like a
they did it without the Velociraptors though.
Yeah, without Velociraptor.
With a Mutadon instead.
The Mutadon is supposed to be a Velociraptor cross pterosaur of some sort, but still had its raptor claws, and the same scenes of them like walking, and you see the close up of the claw and that. I was like, you could have come up with something new. Like, and I get it. Like, I get the homages and the throwbacks to the original, but they did it so many times,
and they didn't do it well. Like, so one of the best homages that the Jurassic franchise has ever done was like Jurassic World, the first one, when they open the Rexy gate and she lights the flare.
Yeah, really cool.
That sent chills down my spine when I saw
its
it.
eyes like glowing
and slowly stumble out.
Yeah.
Right? But it's only an homage because she's got the flare.
Yeah.
It's not recreating the same scene.
No, exactly. It's a
They did the objects may appear closer than...
Yes.
Or
yes.
seem closer than they appear,
Yes.
fucking mirror thing.
Yes.
They did that. Like,
Yes,
you
I
don't
noticed
recreate the
that.
scene, recreate the moment.
The feel of it.
The feel is what
Yeah.
you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like, you want that suspense. And then when you get it, those that know, and they'll be like, that was cool the way they
Yes.
did that, right?
That's what gets the
It doesn't
the
have to be
ultra
so
fans.
fucking on the nose, in your face
No.
sort of shit.
No.
And that's what they did.
Yeah. I did like the little mention, because tiniest little mention was when, what's his name? Kincaid?
Yeah. The black dude.
Oh, no, it wasn't Kincaid. Well, see, that's how unmemorable the characters
I think
were.
his name's Henry, the other doctor.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
The doctor that this is the only tie to the anything Jurassic was that this guy he studied under
That's what I was
Dr.
about
Grant,
to mention.
right?
That's exactly what I was about to mention.
Yeah.
I love that he said, I was doing my postdoctorate with Dr. Grant. And I was like, yes,
that's it.
Awesome.
And that's the kind of subtlety in good writing that I was mentioning. That's how you could have tied up things.
Yes.
What happened with Henry Wu? You could have just had someone say an off-the-cuff line in the background, and us Jurassic fans would go
all we need.
Cool,
Just
you
feed
wrapped
us
that
up.
one up. It's so easy to tie these loose ends together. Like, oh, Maisie Lockwood, she's busy with whatever. Just throw it away. That's fine. It's not your movie that you're trying to tell now, but at least give us some kind of closure on the storylines that you've closed.
Just a hint. You know,
I'd rather
just
you
little
close
things.
the storyline than ignore it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they could have done like I hated that's why Dominion was annoying when they did the news thing where they basically recap everything. That's a cheap way to get information.
Yeah.
They didn't
But
even
it works sometimes.
It does work sometimes. But they could have done there's so much they could have done. They could have Maisie's now.
I would have preferred a scene like that if that just wrapped up a whole bunch of stuff. Just a
100%.
simple news broadcast that wrapped things up. They could have done that.
Yeah.
This sort of like here now sort of thing. They could have done that.
Yeah.
And I would have been fine with it.
It's better than nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's better than ignoring the 30 years history we have with this franchise, right?
Yeah.
What? More than that. It's 92, 93 the original came out.
32 years, yeah.
Oh, boy. But let's talk about a pretty good one. What did you think of the river rafting scene?
Man, I liked it. I really liked it.
We finally got the river rafting scene.
Yeah.
What I didn't like
it.
about it was the motivation for it, because they didn't need to get on that raft.
No, they didn't.
In the book, obviously it's different characters that are doing the scene or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's the original
From the
novel.
original novel. That's where the river rafting scene comes from, right? And let's say they tried in Jurassic Park 3 to do it, but not well. So different characters, but so why did they need to? I didn't care once they had, like opening that fucking raft in front of a sleeping T-Rex.
Yeah,
I mean, and also, so she drags it down. She opens up the raft, and it opens up sideways for some reason, and it blocks the camera's view of the T-Rex. And then when it drops, the T-Rex isn't there anymore. You know what the T-Rex is doing? Having a drink of water.
Yeah.
That's like, it got woken up by a raft and just went, what? And in a blink of an eye, disappeared to go get a drink of water.
And a 16-ton animal standing up with no assistance from arms.
And no sound.
And appearing on the bank.
And minding its own business.
Yeah, in like 3 seconds.
It's not like it was like, oh shit, now I'm stalking you fuckers.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit, better get a coffee before I chase these idiots. It was so...
Yeah. And as well,
but it was a great scene.
I thought it was... I loved it. And like, I know we got a disagreement.
Talk about what you thought of the T-Rex.
Well, I personally thought it was the best T-Rex in the franchise. It was beefy. It was chunky. It had a thick ass head on it. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the largest T-Rex that's been in the franchise. It's big. It was bigger than Rexy by the look. It was huge. It was
stripy.
And it was stripy, which was cool. And do you know what it reminded me of? It had the bull T-Rex vibes in the Lost World, with its like patterning, different color, but it was scary looking. They actually made
It was a serious T-Rex.
It was
for sure.
a serious T-Rex.
And
it was
again,
huge.
I don't know why. This is what always brings back to the premise of the movie is that there was an island where they dumped all their genetic nonsense.
Yeah.
So why are there normal dinosaurs there?
I don't get why that one wasn't put on the park.
Exactly. And why was it dumped there?
Yeah. Well, it was made there, I think.
But they say that island was where they were doing their real weird experiments. Because the ones that they made for the island, that was on Site B to start off with. And either way, this island is nowhere near the Five Deaths or Thorn or Nublar or anything. It's where they dumped all their... Or where they did their crazy experiments. If they were making normal dinosaurs, they would do it closer to the park.
And they had already done that. They had already made T-Rexes for the original Jurassic Park. They've already made T-Rexes. Why are there T-Rex on that island?
Why are there all the species they're looking for? Why are there those fucking... Yeah. Well, obviously they experimented on those compies.
Oh, far out.
All of a sudden we've got red and blue compies.
I don't get what the hell was going on.
Because to me, that made more sense because it's a genetic experiment island.
And you know what?
Right?
It goes back to the, what was it, the Chaos Effect toy line that they made? Where they're all weird colours.
Similar colours, yeah.
Because we always knew the Jurassic franchise wanted to get into hybrids. From the get-go, they wanted to get there. And there was like really old conception art from Jurassic Park, like from that franchise, that they were going to do in some way, way earlier movies. Where it was like half human, half dinosaur concept.
Oh, there was like there was a half human, half dinosaur, half machine gun kind of concept art, you know, where it's like it got a gun for an arm and shit. Like, look at the old Jurassic World. If you want to put it up in your podcast, put some of the old concept art up. Like, so they always wanted to get there.
They always wanted to get there.
That's why I loved the Maisie Lockwood thing.
Yeah.
That's why I like you think InGen's just cloning dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Think fucking again. They're cloning humans.
Yeah.
And you don't think they figured out a way to make a superhuman? That's what I care about as InGen.
Yeah.
I care about that.
I'm glad they didn't do human hybrid because that would have been
weird.
too much.
That would have been too much. We're not ready for that.
No,
Not right now.
no.
Unless it's like a human AI hybrid, and then like half the kids are like, "I'm already there."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's pretty much my life.
pretty much is. Yeah.
I've got an iPhone for a face.
Yep.
You know,
It's just a dude with a phone head.
instead of talk, it just comes up in text, like with the blue. Like anyway.
Yeah. So I loved the T-Rex. I thought it was cool because
That was a great scene.
Yeah. But what another thing I don't understand is like why was it even attacking them? There was a basically completely uneaten Parasaurolophus laying there.
Again,
There's still plenty of meat, but I don't know. Maybe the raft. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the colours of the raft excited it, and it was going for it. Because in the original raft scene in the novel, there's a juvenile, and the bigger T-Rex comes and gets protective over its kill, and that's why it chases him off. And it is sleeping, and it does wake up, and then thinks that it thinks it's got that it's like competition for its food. So that's where the raft scene comes from. So I guess it was kind of similar in that sense.
they had the sleeping T-Rex.
Yeah.
And that was cool. When the T-Rex like rolled over in the grass, it was like, oh, it's a puppy dog.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, exactly. It was cool. I liked that scene. I did. I still think it's probably apart from the only other T-Rex that I really could compare it to that I liked as well was the bull T-Rex from the Lost World, that green color. I thought that was really cool. So it's kind of on par with that, I think. But the bull T-Rex was nowhere near as big as even Rexy. So,
and speaking of this, like that scene didn't hit super hard for me when I watched it. Like in reflection, I woke up this morning and I was like, that's all I could think about. I was like, that was a fucking cool scene.
Yeah, it was a fun adventure scene.
But I'm not stoked with the VFX they used.
Oh no!
Like it looked a bit hyper. It looked a bit video gamey.
Yeah.
It looked a bit AI. It just it was too bright. It was
it was too vibrant.
Too vibrant. It didn't have like. That's what made Jurassic Park awesome.
Yeah.
Is the darkness of it and seeing the rain on these creatures.
And that was on purpose though, because so they could
didn't
get
have
away.
They didn't have the CGI at the time.
Yeah, they could
but you
get
know what? They
away
did
with
have practical effects.
I know.
And they had a big enough budget to make a fucking robot.
Yeah.
That looked like a dinosaur and on screen was a dinosaur.
Oh yeah.
Way more realistic. Like and they never had any of these scenes of like what worked so well with the original Jurassic Park stuff was characters, right?
For sure.
We've talked about how unmemorable these characters are.
Well, because
no one. I've talked about this family that was on a sailboat, the Delgado family, or like this Spanish family. No one. Who the fuck cares what their names are? No one.
No.
They're of no consequence at all.
No.
At least the Kirbys in Jurassic Park 3 had something going.
Yeah.
We all remember that he had a fucking tile and whatever shop.
Paint
right?
Tile Plus.
Yeah.
In Westgate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We remember that shit.
Yeah.
And they had motivation because their kid was stranded. These were all of them they're all just together.
Yeah.
And they were on a sailboat journey anyway.
Yeah.
So that sort of, yeah. Anyway, so the character thing definitely matters.
Well, of course, think about it this way. In the original Jurassic Park, there's only like 15 minutes collectively of dinosaurs that you see in the movie.
Exactly.
The rest is all the arc of the characters
and the story.
And the storyline.
Of InGen.
So they didn't need to have that it just all be dinosaurs because you cared about the characters. The dialogue was good. Everything was good. So that's just like goes to show.
But you think about those great moments that they tried to recreate. So, like Grant and Sattler seeing the Brachiosaur for the first time.
Amazing.
They tried to recreate their scene, and they did pretty good.
Yeah.
They did pretty good. But there's other scenes that they should have done. Like when Grant sees over the plains and he has that comment, it's like, they do move in herds.
Yeah.
That's a magical moment.
Yeah.
Because it's him It's got nothing to do with anyone else or the story. It's him thinking about his, like, that's the show don't tell thing.
It's his work, and he's discovering something personal to him,
and
that
he's
always
seeing it
thought
happen
about.
in front of him. They had none of that sort of stuff in this movie, where someone like this guy that was a paleontologist that studied under Grant didn't seem to be captivated by dinosaurs in the same way.
He didn't have the wonder that Dr. Grant had. He did with the Titanosaur.
They tried with that one scene. That one scene where he puts his hand on this, the only practical effect, it seems, in the entire movie. And it's kind of like, well, you're recreating something now. This guy's got his own... He should have his own thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even Jurassic Park 3... what's the guy's name?
Shit, sorry, I just knocked the microphone.
That's all right. Yeah. You can readjust it.
I just thought it'd make a weird sound.
It did. Yeah. Who cares? He had a fascination with the eggs, for instance, the raptor eggs.
Yeah.
So he still, even though he was an underling, he still had a bit of his own motivation to try and steal an egg.
Billy was awesome. I
Billy,
liked Billy.
That's right. I forgot the name.
Yeah, Billy was sick. Like, I liked Billy. He was a good character. Jurassic. Like, and look, this is going to be controversial, but Jurassic Park 3 might be my favorite.
It's definitely not my favorite. It's definitely controversial to me.
Yeah, The Lost World and JP3, they're actually, fucking, it's too hard. It's so
hard. Man. It's so hard. Yeah. Like if I was to tier rate all of these movies, we maybe do that at the end.
Yeah,
at the end of this episode, we'll try and tier rate them all.
Yeah.
For each of us, but if we want to if we do want to wrap up kind of what we're talking about, what annoys me most about this movie is how they started off with this D-Rex fucking hemorrhoid head bullshit dickhead Rex thing, which is so fucking dumb looking. Yeah. Like, it's obviously a genetic mistake. It's obviously whatever, and it happened to survive. So they had that at the start, and then, guess what? The helicopter's here to save us. What's gonna stop it? Here comes the big mutant. The whole movie had nothing to do with mutants, except for those dumbass mutodons that were basically raptor proxies.
Yeah.
Right? So they were just velociraptors.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden this thing, this... I don't know what the hell whatever the fuck it was, this D-Rex just come for no reason.
Yeah.
There was no reason, storyline-wise, conceptually, to the canon, there's no reason to have the hybrids at all in this movie.
No, there wasn't.
It would work perfectly fine without any of that.
They could have been on Site C and had no hybrids, and it would have been the exact same movie.
Yep, you did not need this extra thing.
No, like for example...
The big battle at the end could have been that Rex again.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. That would have been it would have been the exact same. Like, the big battle, that T-Rexes found them again. Like, the Mutodons were raptors, and it would have changed nothing. It would have added no... Like, the thing with the D-Rex is... The D-Rex was scary to me because it looked so dumb and messed up. And it looked benign, but it was like it moved slowly, but so it slowly grabbed people and done. That was freaky to me.
That bothered my wife the most. My wife Amanda,
freaky.
like the most that she would talk about the movie was just like, no, that thing ruined it for me because it was just too creepy.
It was terrifying in a way that it looked dumb, but it looked like it was sinister, like,
and it almost broke Jurassic. For her, for Amanda, it always... Jurassic was about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And now there's this...
Now we've got monsters.
Like, I don't get nightmares over dinosaurs, but this thing's kind of fucking out. I mean, like, the Indominus Rex
it was freaky
okay,
as well.
Right?
It was freaky as well, because it had hands and would grab people. But it was
the
a dinosaur.
Indoraptor was even creepier.
Yeah.
It's still a dinosaur.
Exactly.
This thing was just fucking like this big... goofy fucking thing, but sinister because it's so retarded.
Yeah.
It was retarded to the point where you're just like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And apparently it just survived by itself, just hanging out in the same spot for 15 years.
Now let's talk about the size discrepancy with that.
That's where they got the scaling the most wrong.
Oh my god. So there is a scene where it comes out and is holding a helicopter in its mouth, and it's got
Yeah.
one hand on it like this. And you see that
So
see the
its
teeth.
jaw is as big as a helicopter.
Yeah, and you see the teeth, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, this thing is huge. And you see the teeth come through the cockpit of the helicopter, and the teeth are like this big. They're like a foot and a half. They're huge, chunky things, right?
And that's only the part you see come through.
Yeah.
It's probably bigger.
Exactly. Then, in other scenes, it's like grabbing a dude out of the Jeep and eating him, and its mouth is like...
The size of the guy.
Right. It's like smaller than the
So
T-Rex.
his mouth is either human-sized or helicopter-sized.
Yeah, it was insane. And then it's roaring...
Within like minutes of each other.
Within minutes. Like, even seconds. And then when it's attacking Kincaid, it's like coming right up to it. Its mouth is like this wide. Like a great white... Like 3 feet long.
Yeah,
Like,
kind of nothing.
Nothing. I was like, how did it go from barely getting a half a man in its mouth when it was attacking that dude to getting like having a helicopter in its mouth fully around it, crushing it, to having like maybe half a dude in it?
It was retarded.
Unbelievable. I didn't get it.
Whoever directed this and did it, like, pretty good job in a lot of respects, but your scaling sucks.
Unbelievable.
Scaling is out of control with this. Like, it was 3 times, 4 times bigger in one scene, and then they cut to it. And when they saw it, like, when they're like trying to come out of the jetty or whatever, it only looks like 20 foot tall.
Yeah, it looks T-Rex size.
If that.
Yeah.
Probably T-Rex, more than T-Rex weight.
Yeah, bulkier, but height-wise,
like, yeah.
And I've seen the concept art of it compared to the T-Rex, and it's maybe nearly twice the height of it in the concept art. So, like, what it is meant to be, it's supposed to be, because it stands more upright, obviously, because it's like a knuckle walker and stuff. But it's supposed to be drastically bigger than the T-Rex, which it is in the helicopter scene. But in the other scenes, it's if not shorter.
Yeah, it was okay.
Very strange. But hey, what I did love, and I loved this, that they did this at the very end with the dolphins, because it was like, yeah, it's a throwback to the pelican scene in the first Jurassic Park, but it was an earth animal, like a modern animal that they were in wonder by the dolphins, even poor CGI dolphins, mind you.
That scene still bugged me.
Did it? I loved that. After all this shit,
They were powerboating away pretty fast.
Yeah.
And the dolphins were keeping up. They're the fastest dolphins in the world. That annoyed me.
Spin a dolphin.
I sail with dolphins a lot. You can outrun them at about 8 or 9 knots. You're outrunning a dolphin.
Yeah.
They were cruising like 25 knots. And there's dolphins like darts coming out of the water. Like,
yeah.
I liked the throwback to the pelican scene.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that. It was the symbolism of it, that they are still in wonder by Earth, by
I like
modern
that. I do like that. I did
That's-
like that there was dolphins, but it was just like, they're the fastest dolphins I've ever fucking seen in my life.
CGI on them was shocking as
Terrible,
well.
terrible.
Like, they could have got a real boat and put them in the boat and powered next to real dolphins.
I've got better footage of dolphins on my phone.
Right.
Like,
I don't know why they had to CGI
dolphins
badly.
aren't hard to film,
No,
and
they're
they're more than willing to follow a boat.
They do it on
for
their
fun.
own fruition. Like,
You don't need to CGI a fucking dolphin.
own volition, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. Momentum, whatever.
But yeah, so like, so when we came out of the movie, Scott hated it, and I really
I was
liked it.
nearly in tears. Nearly in tears.
And then I thought about it more and realized, there's a few things more that bugged me than I thought. And Scott slept on it and thought like the opposite. So we went from like, I liked it, Scott hated it, to now we're kind of in the middle. Like we're kind of in the middle. Like on par
I need to
with
see
each
it
other.
again. Need to see it again.
I hope it's one of those movies that
I'm going to
we
let it
see
sit
twice.
for like a week, and then I'll probably go to the cinemas again and watch it.
Yeah, because Dominion, I didn't like it coming out. I was like, oh god. And then I watched it 2 more times and felt no different.
Yeah, this one,
enjoy it anymore.
like, I want to enjoy it for what it is, because now I know it's not giving me the Jurassic Park canon that I wanted, the loose ends to be tied up, and the InGen line, because InGen's the best thing that's ever happened to that franchise. It is the franchise.
Yeah.
if you talk about Jurassic Park, it's a story of InGen.
Yeah.
It's not, all right, they're in the, like, this is one of the things that annoys me is the themes of what Jurassic is to me. To me, this is all my personal sort of shit. But the themes of Jurassic World to me is man's control over nature, responsibility in the face of technology, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Ethics, given the power to wield genetic powers, let's say.
Yeah.
So responsibility in the face of that sort of stuff. This movie had none of that.
No.
It had absolutely none of the themes of Jurassic Park, of how things can descend into chaos. They already have.
Yeah.
And now there's more hybrids that we don't give a shit about, but they're going to turn up at the end and fuck up a helicopter.
Yeah.
For no reason. And they happen to be on an island that all the other dinosaurs are on as well.
Yeah, exactly.
For no reason.
Yeah, there were a lot of.
They rushed this script.
They
rushed it.
Straight
They
up.
rushed it. If they let it cook for another 6 months, a year before they, like, when it was announced, they went into production like the next month.
I couldn't believe how quickly they were done filming.
They rushed it.
Yeah.
And it feels rushed.
It does.
But it feels different. No one really thought about, like, Jurassic Park is, if you think it's a movie about dinosaurs, you're wrong.
Yes, no. That's a secondary thing to the...
That's just the thing to prove the point.
Yeah.
But this is just about dinosaurs.
And I think that's another reason why, like, I mean, it's perfect thing. They kept thinking whether or not they could. They didn't stop to think if they should. Like,
yeah,
that's this movie.
The people at Universal, absolutely. Yeah. They should have taken their own advice from Ian Malcolm and just be like, you know what? We're not ready yet. We're not ready yet for this one.
I don't think they were. Like, I know they want, with the Jurassic World movies, they wanted to get away from the islands, which they eventually did. And now they're back on the island. But, like, and one thing Rebirth had, it didn't have any forced restraint. Like, you saw too much of everything. Too much of it. And in broad daylight as well.
It was a smorgasbord of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And attacks and whatever. And then things for no reason.
Dolores.
Okay. Let's face it, she was necessary for a merchandise opportunity.
That's all.
That's it. That's it. This
but,
dumb little fucking... I don't even know what kind of dinosaur it is.
Oh, it was...
lychee... I don't know. What the...
Isolops or something. Americanus something. But it did... Let's see.
All it was a merchandise opportunity,
exactly.
So let's slide it in.
Were there any cute, cuddly dinosaurs in any of the first 3 Jurassic movies?
No. Did we...
No.
When we were kids, like, I should have bought my fucking... Velociraptor from the original Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I've got a 1992 Velociraptor from JP.
Didn't have to be cute or cuddly.
I loved that thing.
Yeah.
Love that. It didn't have to be a
And
plush toy.
No.
No one wants a dinosaur plush toy.
No, you're not into dinosaurs because they're cute and cuddly.
Leave that to Camp Cretaceous. That's Bumpy.
Bumpy.
You got that out of the way already.
Yeah.
We've got our mascot for the franchise if that's what you fucking wanted.
Dude, it was...
Or the Baby Blue.
Yeah.
Still, I didn't like that.
No, I didn't like that either.
Didn't like Baby Blue either. Like, fuck it. It's just merchandise opportunity.
Yeah.
Like... And made no difference.
This Jurassic World was supposed to be more violent, more scary than like they wanted to go back to that scare factor of the first trilogy, but it had none of that. It had probably the least amount of blood, least amount of deaths, and it had a cute cuddly animal in somebody's backpack like Dora the Explorer,
which is ridiculous because that family is trying to make their way to Cape Town, right?
Yeah,
right. And we're told that all the dinosaurs can only exist near the equator. And so they take this baby dinosaur to Cape Town.
Yeah.
That's how it ends up. Them basically killing that baby dinosaur.
And also highly illegal.
Yeah.
They just poached this dinosaur and are keeping it as an exotic pet.
Yeah, it was dumb. But
yeah.
Merchandise opportunity.
Oh, 100%.
Merchandise.
100%. Yeah, so like... As it's like, to sum up Rebirth, I loved it as a jungle action adventure movie with dinosaurs in it, but I hated it as a Jurassic movie.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm back at 5 out of 10 for it.
Me too. I'm at 5 out of 10. I'll give it 5 out of 10 because like
5 out of 10. But let it cook. We've only seen it once, and that's the thing. Like, I didn't really even want to do this podcast without watching it again.
Yeah.
But it's like, I should be able to understand a movie watching it once.
Exactly.
I shouldn't have to watch. I know I'm going to watch Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies over and over again forever.
Sure.
I know I'm going to. Doesn't mean that I have to understand the movie.
No.
So if I've seen it once,
Most people...
and I only had one piss break.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I went at the Quetzalcoatl scene just before that kicked off. But that's the thing. It's like, you shouldn't have to watch it 10 times to start enjoying it. Like, no, it should captivate you and straight off the bat.
And I should be able to understand it and get their motivations and everything, and then they'll be like, "Oh, but you missed this detail." It's like, nah,
there was nothing to understand in this movie. It was
exactly.
There was nothing to think about,
and that's what will probably annoy me if I go to watch it again. I'll be overthinking it, and just like they've got to give some nod here and there. I'll be looking at the background and seeing.
Actually, one thing that I did notice, and it was right at the start, was like, was that skeleton Rexy?
Oh shit!
Because the skull didn't look like the other dinosaur bones wise, and it had scars on it. They had cuts on the bone.
Oh shit! See, now I have to watch it again.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed, because you saw the banner, obviously, like what in the original movie.
Yeah.
And its head was in a case, and it didn't look so like the other bones, and it did have marks on it.
Okay.
On the skull.
So if that's the case, they absolutely underserved the death of Rexy.
Yeah.
If that's the case, because if of all the things they could do a side nod to wrap it up, the death of Rexy isn't the thing I want.
No. Right? But it's probably the perfect way to do it then.
Yeah, I want the death of Biosin.
Yeah.
Right? I want fucking other things to get wrapped up. I don't want like, hey, it's confirmed now Rexy's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
In just a throwaway scene.
Yeah.
That would bug me if that's true. That would bug me if that's true, but we'll see.
Yeah. But I would kind of like it because it was so subtle, and only people that really know, like, oh, that's Rexy. I'd rather see that than Rexy die.
like the Brachiosaur in Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, come
that
on,
that was too brutal, but I respected them for doing it.
It was.
I respected them for throwing it in our face and saying like, these animals are dying. Yeah. You better watch.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit! This movie did none of that.
No,
it didn't. It didn't pull at any heartstrings. You were not emotionally attached to any character.
No.
Any of them could have died, and you wouldn't have given a shit.
No.
I wanted the douchebag boyfriend to die.
Yeah.
Because he had this fucking arc where it's like, oh, well, like, let's just make something where, like, the dad doesn't respect him. Yeah. And there's a douchebag or whatever. And then even when he finally earns the dad's respect, he kind of just doesn't care.
Yeah. So and that was another thing that I didn't like about it. There was way too much comedic relief with him. That was like, they didn't need to be that dumb comedy in it.
So he's having a piss, and raptors appear behind him, and you see like the camera's like pointing at him, and you can see what's going on behind him, and the Quetzalcoatl comes and attacks those raptors. And then you just hear the sound of his piss come back.
Yeah, it's like, too much.
No one laughed at that. Everyone kind of just went, "Huh?"
Yeah, I know.
Like that's dumb.
Yeah, they didn't need that.
Any jizz. 5 out of 10. Go see it.
10. Yeah.
Go see it.
And
if you can, reach out to Clayton Fioretti and have him come on the podcast, because I'd love to chat to him about this movie. He hasn't released a video about it yet.
I looked this morning.
Me too. I really wanted to know. I think he's brewing the same way we were.
I reckon he is as well.
We just jumped onto it the next day, so
yeah,
my thoughts and opinions might change, but it is what it is right now. We don't get these Jurassic World or Jurassic Park or Jurassic franchise movies very often. No.
And it just sucks that we waited all this time for something that was quite underwhelming. That's
basically a like.
It didn't really
instead
need to be
of Scarlett Johansson, it could have been fucking The Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a jungle adventure movie.
If it was titled Dinosaur Island, you'd be like, sick, cool dinosaur, like you think of when you watch The Meg. Cool. Monster movie. Sick. Dinosaurs.
Monster movie.
Cool. But just the fact it was a Jurassic movie, and it's like...
I've always held Jurassic as higher esteem than a basic monster movie.
For sure.
Because of the themes we talked about. because
Yeah.
they're not about dinosaurs. It's
Nah.
about fucking humans.
Yeah.
It's about our responsibility. It's about so much more
Yeah.
than just dinosaurs on a fucking island.
Oh no.
But they've made it about dinosaurs on a fucking island.
Too much about dinosaurs, which sounds weird. Jurassic Park movies shouldn't be so much about dinosaurs, but it's
The best
true.
Jurassic Park movie of all time, 14 minutes of dinosaurs.
Yeah. What's that saying?
You really telling me it's about dinosaurs? It's not.
Yeah.
Everything else is what made those dinosaurs cool.
100%.
Right?
100%. Yep. All right, let's rate the movies.
Okay. Tier time.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. Oh fuck, this is gonna be impossible. All right. Jesus Christ, this is harder than I thought.
Number
all right.
one's easy.
Well, number one, yes, but
Is it?
I could rewatch. So I could rewatch Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 more than I can the first one. Probably because I've probably seen the first one so many times. All right, I'm just gonna do it. You know, this will change. It's a sliding scale. I'm gonna go JP3.
As your number one.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Right on.
I love it. I love it.
Go nuts to the comments section
Yeah.
because that's a wild take.
I know.
That's a wild take.
It's like saying Phantom Menace is your favorite Star Wars. I'm gonna go JP3.
It's mine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I actually really like it. Oh man, I can't put the first one third. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go Lost World and JP3. They're tied for me. Tied.
For first.
Yeah, for first, and then
Okay.
then the first one.
Yeah.
Fuck,
So
that
spot
sounds
1
wrong.
and 2 is the first trilogy.
Yeah, and then I'm literally gonna go Jurassic World 1, Fallen Kingdom, Dominion, Rebirth. It all in
Rebirth still the lowest.
Oh fuck no. Actually no. I can't like Dominion more than Rebirth. Sorry. Yeah, no.
Swap
Rebirth
them,
then
swap them.
Dominion. Swap them. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't do that. Yeah, Dominion wasn't good.
All right. I'm at, as far as what it meant to see it, I fucking, obviously the original,
Yep.
number one. I'm a huge Lost World fan.
Yeah.
I love Lost World. That's number 2. I definitely like Jurassic World more than I like JP3.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And I also like Fallen Kingdom more than that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then JP3,
Yep.
then Rebirth, then Dominion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
right?
Like. Yeah. To be honest.
I don't think that's a controversial take.
No, I don't think at all. Because to be honest, like I could go that way as
Yeah.
well. It's yeah. I just like JP3 because
I
they're
like
back
it.
on
I
an
like it as
island.
well, but
It's
as
a survival
Jurassic,
movie.
It's cool, but like there's a Velociraptor saying Alan, you know, but also Jurassic World was great.
Really good.
I did love that. So
Yeah.
it's not quite Lost World spec. It's not quite
No.
original spec.
Yeah.
but it's right there in number 3.
Yeah.
Right there in number 3.
Super rewatchable as well. You can watch
And
it
and
100
and
times.
Fallen Kingdom. What I love about it is I love the Lockwood. I
Yeah.
love the origins of InGen, that they made their first dinosaur in the basement of that fucking
They did
estate.
that really good. They did that. Lockwood Estate
And-
was awesome. That
And it was
museum in there.
creepy, and I loved the Indoraptor.
Yeah.
And I loved what they did with the Indoraptor. Like the scenes of the Indoraptor's demise was so, like, the slow motion falling
Yeah.
through the glass, getting impaled. Like,
Beautiful.
oh,
And
that
it's
is
just like-
that is a work of art. We had none of that in this movie. That was a work of art.
Yeah, and just the trembling, like, because it's all fucked up.
Yeah, the
like-
fact that it's like glitching out, like it's got some kind of tism.
And they had a great white hunter in there, that dude that got his arm bitten off in
Yeah,
there.
ripping out those
teeth.
fucking
Yeah.
teeth from everybody.
Buffalo
you know?
Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yeah.
They're putting on his lipstick.
Yeah, yeah.
Creepy guy. But yeah, no, I couldn't see a problem with your ranking at all.
Yeah,
Like,
and I totally get why you put JP3 up there, because
Yeah.
it's such a great adventure movie.
yeah, and
It
and
is.
We see cool stuff. We see their dodgy labs, and one thing, like, probably my favorite thing is I don't remember that on InGen's list.
Exactly.
Because it was.
That's,
I was like, that's
it's
sick.
the first sign that InGen was more than what we thought.
They're doing dodgy shit.
I
over
get
there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I say. All you learn from JP3 is that InGen's up to some shit.
Yeah.
But that's a big thing to learn.
Yeah, exactly. That's what gives the arc of like a lot of other like
Every other movie.
yeah, exactly.
Including this new one.
Yeah.
Right? They've got
Yep.
this fucking hemorrhoid head bullshit thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it only makes sense because of what they said in JP3.
And that's another thing. Why did they have that other island to do that on? Why didn't they just do it on Sauna? The Spinosaurus was way more dangerous than the D-Rex. Way more. It got hit by a plane and hunted them down on that island because it was pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Well, like, why did they need a whole like?
We're going to do a part 2 of this podcast because we've well over an hour now and I'm busting for a piss.
Yeah, nah. Let's wrap it up. I think we covered it. Anyway, go see the movie.
Go see the movie. I'm going to go see it again.
Yeah, and let us know what you think in the comments. Because, yeah, I'm interested to know. All right, see you next time on another episode of Thorn's Jungle. Take care, everyone.